Daily Chumash for
Page,
Wednesday.
page 22.
Okay, 22 L'chayenu.
It's a
Thursday
short
of
one.
Elul. Fourth Aliyah, very short today. Today we're going to talk about, after dividing the priests into divisions of how they take turns in the tabernacle, Moshe encouraged the Jewish people to turn only to God for all their needs and not to seek ways to foretell the future. No crystal ball stuff. So let's talk about the division of the priests. Vav, verse 6. And if the Levi priest, the Kohen, comes from one of your towns, Asher Garsham, where he's living, and he comes in any place he desires, and comes of his own free will to the place that Shem will choose. Let's see. Levi. If the Levi comes, I might have thought this means a Levi, right? The Levi, Levite, as in not a Kohen. So when it says in the next verse, Visheris, he does the service, it's excluding Levi, it means the Kohen. Because sometimes Levi means a Kohen, right? Because Kohen comes from the tribe of Levi. He says that is indeed the case here. It does not mean literally the Levi, it means the Kohen, who's the service, the main service guy. It says Rashi comes of his own free will and he serves. This is teaching you that a Kohen that comes to offer his own personal korban, right? Not on behalf of an Israelite, but his own free will gift offering to God. He's allowed to do the rites, the slaughtering and the blood and whatever on the altar himself. He doesn't have to give it over to the Kohen family whose turn in the rotation it is that week. They do most of the work. But if you have your own personal thing, you're a Kohen from another clan, you're allowed to do your own service for your own animal, whenever that is, even if it's outside your family's rotation week. Another explanation is telling you that the Kohanim that come to the temple for the festival may serve with the resident shift and carry out the service of the sacrifices that are for the festival, such as the Musaf, even though it's not their shift. So just to clarify, there's a concept called mishmares, divisions. How did it work? You had to have a system. Not every Kohen could come and can do the service every single day. There wasn't enough work for every single Kohen. So they divided them into 24 family units or groups, and those 24 units would rotate 1 week every week for, I guess, 24 every 24 weeks. And it's saying that even if that's typical, but that's for regular, services. But if there's special holiday stuff and there's a family, let's say it's a certain family's week, even then, because the Kohanim, the other Kohens are coming for the pilgrimage, they can join in for that pilgrimage, that festival, and do the service together. Or they could do their own personal sheep sacrifice on their own without giving it over to that week's division. Zion, Visheres V'Shem Hashem Lekov. That Kohen may serve in the name of God, his God, Hashem, his God, like all his brethren, the Levites, the Kohanim, Ha'omdim Sham Fnei Hashem, who are standing before Hashem. Ches, chelik kechelik yechelu. They shall eat an equal share, levad mimkarav ala aves, except those portions that were transacted among the fathers. Chelik kechelik yechelu. They shall eat an equal share. This teaches us they are entitled to a portion of the hide and the meat of the goat sin offerings. I might think they may also take a share in offerings that are not brought on account of the festival. So on the festivals, we said they could take part. They could also get a portion of the hide and the meat, which goes to the Kohanim of that week. What about offerings that are not festival oriented, like the daily offering, the Tamid, or the Shabbos offering, the Musaf of Shabbos, or the people's personal, the Israelites' personal Nidarim and Nidavot, the free will offerings. Maybe if you're serving that week, it's Pesach, you're there anyways, you're allowed to go join in that, that you're, even though it's not your turn, you can join in. But maybe you could take part in all those, standard stuff. The Torah says, Levad mimkarav al aves, except those, basically it's telling you that even though it's not your division, you can join in special for the festival stuff because there's such an influx of people and you can take part. But all non-festival oriented stuff that was like daily stuff, Shabbos stuff, personal vows of people, that goes to that week's Mishmar division of Kohanim. And that's what it says, besides the transactions from the fathers, which is referring to the transactions that was done in the days of David and Shmuel, King David and Shmuel, where it was an agreed. They made all the Kohanim sell their portions to take turns of every week, because theoretically, on a biblical level, all Kohanim can converge on the temple and do it all at once. But that's chaos. It's too many people. So in the days of David and Shmuel, there's too many Kohanim. They made you're relinquishing your rights for 23 weeks, and you'll get the 24th week, and the debt for every one of the 24 family groups. So that belongs to that week's stuff, to that week's Kohen division. Since you're not entering the land of Hashem your God is giving you, you must not learn to do like the abominations of those nations. So what's it now? It's a new thing. Now we're talking about being careful not to act like like the nations there in a certain way. It says Rashi, and I'll say in a minute what that is. We're going to talk about divination. Before we get there, he says you can't learn about their religion or their practices to do them, but to learn them to understand what is forbidden and what to instruct people how negative are these kind of pagan sorcery ways that you're allowed that the rabbinate was allowed to learn. I mean, you can't study other religions, but if you're a counter missionary, you could. Next page, Yud. What are one of the bad practices? You can't pass your son or daughter through fire, not in fire, but through like 2 rows of fire. That was one right. Another one is kosem and kisamim, using divination. You should not be found a diviner. Ma'onein is a person's into auspicious good or bad luck times. Menachesh is about omens, like black cat runs in front of you, I think. Machashev or should not be found anybody who does witchcraft. Rashi, he who passes son or daughter through the fires. This refers to the Molech worship. We talked about that elsewhere. You make bonfires on either side. You're initiating your son or daughter by giving him or her to the priest through the 2 bonfires. Kaisim ksamim, you can't be a diviner. What does that mean? Rashi says, someone who holds his staff and says, should I go or not go? He's like taking energy from his staff. Similarly, it says, my people ask the wooden image, and their staff tells them. Ma'onein. Rabbi Kiva says, these are those who calculate auspicious times, saying this time is good for starting. Chum say, these are those who deceive the eyes. So actually, it's different as opinion. Rabbi Kiva says, you can't say, this time is good for me to go into business. Wednesday at 2:00 is a good time to go to the market. You're putting too many limitations on God. Or he says, the Chachamim said, actually, you can't say you're doing witchcraft, even if you're doing optical illusions. You can't pretend.
I'm aware that the Orthodox Jews, of which I might be slightly inclined, we look at Tuesday as important because God said it was very good and
100%. Yeah, you could say. I think it's saying that you can't like make these things determining factors of your functioning in life.
You can be aware, but not
To be aware there's
be
auspicious times, a holiday.
over significant.
Yeah, you can't like be like obsessive compulsive about it, I think. Uh,
Exactly. I agree.
Menachesh, or through omens. This is an example. You see someone who bread falls out of his mouth, or a deer crosses his path, updated to black cat, today, or his staff falls from his.
Those
Oh, a deer is my path. Oh, I can't. It means I can't. That means I have to stop going in my. I have to stop my travels. Like it's
goes
okay.
away.
Okay, Yud Aleph. You shouldn't be found a group charmer, Mishoyel Oiv Yudoni, or one who consults the witchcraft of Ova Yudoni. We'll see in a minute what that is. B'dor Shalmesim, or a necromancer. You can't do a seance to talk to the dead. L'chayver Chaver, a group charmer. This is someone who gathers snakes, scorpions, other animals in one location by means of witchcraft. You can't use a spell to manipulate animals.
Where have I seen?
So
Hey, what about a snake
a snake
charmer?
charmer is using probably just music. That's not witchcraft. If he's using witchcraft to, you know, gather snakes, then that's a problem. Let's go on. Michelle Ove, one who consults the Ove. Ove
Well,
is a type of witchcraft.
you know the habits of these animals, and you can
That's
use them.
different. That's different.
Yeah.
Habits is one thing. We're talking witchcraft. All right. Anyways, what's Ove? Ove was a witchcraft. Hold on a second. Um, one who does these things, abomination to God. I'm sorry. Um, Michelle Ove, this is one who consults the witchcraft of Ove. Ove is it's called a pisome, where you would speak, that practitioner you'd speak from his armpit and raise the spirits of the dead in his armpit.
That's cute. Where is that?
Okay, I gotta go. A necromancer, such as one who raises the spirit of the dead on his male organ. Um, he raises the spirit of the dead on his male organ or consults a skull.
There you go.
Yud
Wow.
Bays, let me just finish quickly and I have to go. Um, whoever does this is an abomination and counts abominations to God. Okay. Um, Anyone who does these things does not say who does all these things, but rather any one of these things. Yud Gimel Tamim Tia Imavai Lekecha, you shall act straightforth with Hashem your God. It says in Rashi, follow him with perfect faith. What does it mean follow God straightforwardly? Follow Hashem with perfect faith and put your hope in him, and do not delve or try to predict the future. Rather, whatever happens to you, accept with perfect faith, and then you will be with him and be part of his portion.